Anti-Israel protesters continue disruptions with escalations at USC, Harvard, and Columbia universities. We've also got Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is demanding that President Biden send in the National Guard during this ruckus Columbia visit. Donald Trump is set to receive a bonus that is worth $1.2 billion for Truth Social, Trump media stock performance, and President Joe Biden just signed the TikTok divestment or ban bill that was just passed by the Senate to make it law. Now, I just want to just take a second to thank you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for always hitting the like button for these videos. Thank you so much for always sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. It really helps to get the truth out there. And, I just want to say a quick hello to Matt Phillips. I see you in the comments. We've got Debbie Witt. We've got Menace 1966. What's going on, everyone? All right. So they just confirmed our worst suspicion, guys. President Joe Biden, Democrats in Congress, and the Department of Justice, the DOJ, they're all seeming to conspire to take down former President Donald Trump. Now, first, excuse me. Now, you know this is live. So first, House Democrats just introduced a bill that would take away Donald Trump's Secret Service protection. Can you believe that? This would literally make him and his family members vulnerable to all sorts of threats. Then, of course, there's New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who tried to pull a fast one by asking Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron, one of the Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron to void Donald Trump's $175 million civil fraud bond. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Anyway, so basically, Letitia James had raised a fake claim concerning Donald Trump's bond money, that Donald Trump controlled the money secured by Knight Specialty Insurance Company, owned by a billionaire, Donald Trump supporter, mind you, Don Hankey. And he basically said that the former president could even have earned interest on the money while his appeals of Judge Arthur Engoron's ruling are pending. Now, of course, Letitia James and Arthur Engoron let's just say they're less than happy to know that Donald Trump is making money on that money sitting in the bank while they essentially review the appeal here. So Judge Arthur Engoron actually saw reason from Donald Trump's legal team and agreed, believe it or not, to keep the bond. So Donald Trump himself defended the bond outside the criminal trial courtroom, saying that Letitia James should not be complaining about the bond company and that they, would effectively be good for it because Donald Trump put up the money. It's sitting in a Charles Schwab bank account. It's good to go. Anyway, so our former president added that he has plenty of money to put up, and it's true enough. We just confirmed that Donald Trump is actually set to earn a $1.25 billion earnout bonus from his media company, Truth Social, Trump Media and Technology Group, after its stock price exceeded a key threshold that actually made him eligible for the reward, and it makes Donald Trump's stake in Truth Media worth about $4 billion on paper. Now, in other news, President Joe Biden just signed a $95.3 billion foreign aid package just earlier this morning, actually, and it actually overcame strong divisions in Congress to deliver effectively long sought after security aid to the Ukraine, to Israel, and to Taiwan, while forcing the social media app TikTok to sell the company or face a ban in the United States here. So you got former President Donald Trump. He said he wants young voters to know that crooked Joe Biden is responsible for banning TikTok. Now, I got to ask you guys, do you agree with President Biden that the U.S. should ban TikTok if they do not sell their social media app company? Just comment yes or no down below. Now, moments after the signing of this bill, the Pentagon announced a $1 billion military aid drawdown for the Ukraine that includes air defense missiles, ammunition to shoot down drones, artillery shells, and other equipment for the Ukraine. So do you guys support sending even more of our taxpayer dollars to the Ukraine? Let me know in the comments down below, yes or no. All right, so getting back to New York hush money trial with Donald Trump, prosecutors seem to be falling apart at the seams as they just kind of let slip that their entire case rests on a very shaky legal theory that the former president was a part of a conspiracy to corrupt the 2016 election. Now, DA Alvin Bragg doesn't know what he's up against, okay? So a prosecutor in the case, you got Joshua Steinglass. He told Judge Juan Merchan and Donald Trump's lawyers during a sidebar in the recent hearing that the entire case is predicated on the idea that there was a conspiracy to influence the election in 2016. Now, do you guys believe this? Now, first of all, I'm almost flabbergasted that this guy was amateur enough to have admitted that to the competition. But this case is about to get blown out of the water. And get this, guys, they also confirmed that two major Democratic clients of the daughter of the judge overseeing Donald Trump's hush money trial have raised at least $93 million in campaign donations. And they used the case in their solicitation emails, raising renewed concerns that Judge Juan McAfee or Judge Juan Merchan has a major conflict of interest here. Then, of course, there's a whole thing about the federal investigators that are asking financial institutions to search terms such as Trump and MAGA when combing over consumer data in the aftermath of the January 6th Capitol riot. So at this point, it is not just Donald Trump that they're after, but it's also seeming like they're targeting almost every single American that supports the Republican presidential nominee. Can you guys believe this? So I'm telling you guys, like, if you have not been tuning in before to this channel, definitely tune in now because the stakes have literally never, ever been higher. So here's a preview of this bill that they were proposing that would basically take away former President Donald Trump's Secret Service protection if he's convicted. I mean, I can't make this stuff up, guys.
This earlier today, a new bill proposed by the Democratic congressman from the state of Mississippi, Benny Thompson, would strip Secret Service protection for anyone sentenced to jail for a felony. The, quote, disgraced former Protectees Act is intended, you might think, as a not-so-subtle jab as former President Donald Trump, who, as we all know, is in court facing felony charges this week. But consider this. If it ever got to President Biden's desk, do you think he would sign it? You know who also received Secret Service protection? You know who also is facing felony charges?
Hunter
Biden.
Sign it. All of this.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? Like, why in the hell can't they leave the man alone? Donald Trump. Like, why can't they leave him alone? I mean, it's just unbelievable, guys. So like others, I don't know. I mean, some people I know, they're just literally wondering, why can't they leave this guy alone? Others are literally just kind of like praying to God in heaven to bless Donald Trump and to keep him and his family safe, because it's very clear that they're trying to strip him of his protections. They want to throw him in jail and wipe out his entire net worth, ruin his whole family. I mean, like, this is just crazy. Yeah, because they believe that when, Donald Trump comes back, he's probably going to drain the swamp. And this is what they're afraid of. But what do you guys think? Do you think Donald Trump's going to drain the swamp when he comes back in, if he wins the 2024 presidential elections? Let me know what y'all think. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. What's going on, Katalia? What is going on? We got Don Owen here. Deborah, Ron, thanks for the updates. All right, awesome. So basically now we got the anti-Israel protesters continuing their disruptions with the escalations at the USC, Harvard, and Columbia University. So at several U.S. universities, there were some pretty big protests that were related to Israel's actions in the Middle East, guys. Matter of fact, the protests actually turned into confrontations with the police, leading to some people getting arrested. Now, the universities that were involved were the University of Southern California. You've got Harvard University, University of Texas at Austin, UT Austin, and Columbia University in New York City. Now, every one of these campuses experienced some level of disruption and hostility. At USC, though, things became very chaotic when the police began to enforce the rules and start to arrest folks. So basically, hundreds of students were involved, and the confrontation with the campus police officers, it ultimately escalated. And we knew that this would happen. I mean, in fact, some protesters fell onto the sidewalk during the commotion, which actually made it quite dangerous, and police were demanding help or criticizing their actions. Meanwhile, over at Harvard University, anti-Israel protesters set up a Gaza solidarity encampment in their Harvard yard, indicating that their support for Gaza and opposition to Israel's actions. So this activity, it also contributed to the overall tension and the disorder across the different campuses. Yeah, so Speaker Mike Johnson, he actually said that he will call President Joe Biden and demand that the president send the National Guard to Columbia University, an escalation after protesters constantly shouted him and other Republicans down during a visit to the campus earlier today. So Mike Johnson, flanked by GOP lawmakers from New York and elsewhere, repeated his calls for the university's embattled president to step down. But protesters, they shouted, who are you people? Mike, you suck. And they chanted Free Palestine, pretty much making it impossible for the reporters and others to hear the speaker. Now, I got a question for you guys. Do you think Mike Johnson is doing a good job? Do you think that Mike Johnson should remain Speaker of the House? Or do you think that Mike Johnson should step down? If you think Mike Johnson should remain Speaker of the House, just drop me a comment, yes or no, in the comments down below. Now, so let's take a look at this bill from the House Democrats, right? So they're calling it the denying. Oh wow. So I'm sorry. Jeff Gooden says Mike Johnson has screwed us. Don O says Biden owes Mike Johnson the rhino a favor. Wow. Okay. A lot of you guys are saying no. Nancy Vilwalk says Johnson needs to step down. Rand Paul for speaker. How many of you guys think Rand Paul would make a pretty good speaker of the House? Let me know, guys. All right, so let's take a look at this bill from the House Democrats. So they're calling it the denying infinite security and government resources allocated toward convicted and extremely dishonorable former protectees act. I know. The government is notorious for making these really long, stupid names for their bills, but they're calling it the DISGRACE Act in short. All right. So basically, Donald Trump supporters say it directly targets the former president who's facing 91 felony charges in federal and state courts. So you got Representative Benny Thompson, the former chair of the now disbanded January 6th Congressional Committee, introduced this legislation that would ultimately automatically nix Secret Service protection for those who have been convicted of a federal or state felony that carries a minimum 1-year prison term. So Thompson says that it's regrettable that it has come to this, but I'm not really sure that he means this. I mean, like, he says it's regrettable. I mean, you could just smell the sarcasm in his tone, right? Yeah. So anyway, they even released a so-called fact sheet noting that Donald Trump is facing an unprecedented 91 felony charges in federal and state courts, which has created a new exigency that the Congress must address to ensure Secret Service protection does not interfere with the criminal judicial process and the administration of justice. Now, we already know what they're trying to do here. They're trying to literally manufacture a brand new law so that if they can get Donald Trump convicted, that they can strip him of the Secret Service protection, throw him in jail so that he can be in general population and let whatever happens to happen to him take place. That just seems like a 100% planned move. And this is just horrible. Are you guys like seeing what's happening here? John Stewart, thank you so much, my man, for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. God bless. Unbelievable, guys. So many unprecedented things taking place right now. So the one page document, it also states that the bill would apply to former President Donald Trump should he be convicted of a felony, as well as to all Secret Service protectees convicted and sentenced under felony charges. So the real question is, does Hunter Biden count here? Now just to remind you, Hunter Biden is also facing legal action and has Secret Service protection. You see, Secret Service protection is afforded to current presidents and their family members, as well as former presidents and other high-level officials. Protection was expanded to a majority of presidential nominees following the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy in 1968, although his son has not been provided with Secret Service protection for his 2024 independent run. So yet another Biden rival that's being left unprotected, right? Now, as for Donald Trump, this is the only way that they're, trying to cut the Republican nominee. You know what I mean? Like, if we look at everything that they're doing, this is definitely not the only way that they're trying to cut off the Republican nominee off at the knees. I mean, just a few days ago, Donald Trump's lawyers, they cut a deal with New York state prosecutors to secure his hefty $175 million civil fraud bond as he appeals the ruling in the case, even as his criminal trial got underway down on the street, right? So basically, Donald Trump's legal team, they had they're always having to deal with this crap, right? Basically, Donald Trump's legal team had to fend off yet another attack from state attorney General Letitia James over this civil fraud bond, which was supposedly already settled. It's like, come on, Letitia, get with the program, right? And so now, it's just unbelievable. By the way, guys, if you guys haven't already, hit the like button for the video, show your boys some love. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure your notification bell's turned on, because I don't want y'all missing out on future videos and updates. I want to keep y'all up to date. I want to keep y'all posted on everything that's going on right now. All right. So basically, we got Letitia James demanding, so here's her demand this time. This is ridiculous, right? So Letitia James' demand this time is that Donald Trump's legal team secure the bond by keeping it in a lockbox, while the one-time commander-in-chief fights to overturn a whopping $454 million judgment by Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron last month. So Letitia James has raised concerns, fake claims, that Donald Trump controlled the money secured by Knight Specialty Insurance Company, which is ultimately owned by billionaire Trump supporter Don Henke. And she basically said that the former president, it was actually confirmed that the former president could have even earned interest on the money while his appeals of Judge Arthur Engoron's ruling are pending. And so Donald Trump himself defended the bond outside the criminal courtroom, saying that, hey, he put up the cash and the number is $175 million. And that James should not be complaining about the bonding company, as they would be good for it because, he already put up the money. $175 million sitting in Charles Schwab account. I mean, hardly gets any better than that, right? Now, of course, if we listen to Alina Habba, Donald Trump's lawyer, she would literally be like, is the money not green enough? Like what is really going on here? So, just absolutely wild, absolutely wild. So, anyway, so, appreciate you, Katalia. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love in the comments down there. So Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, blasted James for questioning the legitimacy of the bond. Can you believe this? So Alina Habba said that the attorney general and the judge realized very quickly that they had no idea what the freak they are talking about. And she also added that this is where your taxpayer dollars are going, America. Right here, right? Right here, witch hunt after witch hunt. What do you guys think? Is this another witch hunt for Donald Trump? Unbelievable, guys. So Donald Trump supporters have even started calling the New York State Attorney General Letitia James. So it's no longer Letitia James. So they're saying that Latasha James should be disbarred and locked up for what she and her team are doing to former President Donald Trump. So Trump's lawyer, Christopher Keese, he called James' latest attempt to void the bond just another flawed and desperate protest by the Attorney General. So, and then plus, you can be reassured that Donald Trump is good for it. I mean, like, especially considering how former President Donald Trump is now set to earn a $1.25 billion earnout bonus from his media company after its stock price exceeded a key threshold that made him eligible for this reward. So basically, this bonus for Donald Trump comes after requiring Trump media stock to hit the benchmark for 20 trading days within a 30-day trading window beginning on March 25th. And this is when the company went public. So last I checked, Trump Media's stock closed at around $35.50 per share. This is twice the value of the $17.50 benchmark share price that the company needs in order to hit, to make Trump eligible for this bonus. So yeah, at $35 a share, Donald Trump's stake in Trump Media is worth about $4 billion on paper. So the man's not broke. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so he supposedly can't touch the money to pay off some of his legal bills because of a 6-month lockout provision, which we know about. But the Trump Control Board's the Trump Control Company's board, it could actually waive that provision if they choose to do so, ultimately freeing up some money for Donald Trump's defense and his presidential campaign. So yeah, he can get to the money if he needed it, but it looks like he probably won't need it. Anyway, so his supporters have also been buying into Donald Trump's stock, which I think is on the stock market under ticker symbol DJT, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so Trump supporters have been buying Donald Trump's stock, Truth Media, Trump Social stock, Truth Media, and saying God bless and protect President Trump, his family, his supporters, and of course the United States. So they say that when Donald Trump wins the White House, he should sue Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engoron. Basically, for the American people voting for Trump, James needs to go to jail. So I want to ask you guys, do you think if Donald Trump becomes president in 2024, he should sue Letitia James or sue Judge Arthur Engoron? Lady Trucker says she's just pissed because she can't take his property. Yeah, she's pissed for a lot of reasons. Anyway, so yeah, we got Keenan Ripon in here. What's going on, Keenan? So yeah, so even this hush money trial that Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg chose to pursue is predicated on some pretty shaky legal basis. In fact, if you guys caught my last live, I think it was my last live or live before last, I pointed out how essentially there was a Boston University professor that poked some significant gaping holes in this whole legal proceeding against Donald Trump from Alvin Bragg. This thing is about to fall apart. It's a sinking ship for DA Alvin Bragg. Anyway, so I'm saying that he chose to pursue this. I'm saying that DA Alvin Bragg chose to pursue this because 3 other legal entities repeatedly passed over this case since they knew it couldn't stick. And some of these big names, mind you, we're talking about the FEC, the federal prosecutors, even the Manhattan DA's office. Alvin Bragg's own predecessor, Cyrus Vance Jr., said that this hush money case against former President Donald Trump, it wasn't worth it. The prosecutors even let slip, another goofball mistake on their part, they let it slip out that their entire case rests on this weak legal theory that he was a part of a conspiracy to corrupt the 2016 election. So the presumptive Republican presidential nominee is charged with like 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, a crime, by the way, which is usually a misdemeanor. To elevate the charges to a felony, prosecutors have to show how Donald Trump lied on the documents with the intention of committing another crime. Now, that crime, according to prosecutor on the case, Joshua Steinglass, the idea that there was a conspiracy to influence the election in 2016. Now, another prosecutor, Matthew Colangelo, he told jurors during opening statements that Donald Trump orchestrated a criminal scheme to corrupt the 2016 election, then covered up that conspiracy by lying in his New York business records over and over again. Now, despite all of these claims, no federal charges have been brought against Donald Trump for interfering with the 2016 election. But Manhattan prosecutors claim Donald Trump and his partners broke local election law by conspiring to illegally promote a campaign. Sure, Bob. Yeah. So anyway, Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, he countered by saying that essentially there's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. I mean, it's called democracy. Freaking idiots. Like everyone who's running for any kind of political office is trying to influence an election. There's a problem with interfering with the election process. There's an issue, right? But influencing an election is just democracy. So anyway, there's also questions about the legitimacy of Judge Juan Merchan in the case, considering that it's, his own daughter has two clients who have raised at least $94 million in campaign donations and ultimately raised the case, ultimately used the case in their solicitation emails. So it's crazy here, right? So you got the judge's daughter, Lauren Merchan, is president of Authentic Campaigns, a Chicago-based progressive political consulting firm whose top clients include Representative Adam Schiff, who was the lead prosecutor in Donald Trump's first impeachment trial, and the Senate Majority PAC, which is a major party fundraiser. So you got Trump spokesperson Stephen Chang saying that Authentic Campaigns and thus the judge's daughter is actively making money from this whole sham attack against President Donald Trump, rendering Judge Merchan conflicted out. So I don't know how much more evidence we need to prove that this is not a judge who is absent of conflict of interest here, right? So now they're calling for the judge to do the right thing and to immediately recuse himself in order to show the American people that the Democrats have not destroyed our justice system completely, at least. But we're going to have to wait and see if he actually does that. There's not a shred of belief in my body that says that this judge is going to recuse himself. But anyway, so they said that him continuing to be involved in this crooked Joe Biden directed witch hunt is just a complete violation of all applicable rules, regulations, and ethics, which is really just more proof of the witch hunt against Donald Trump. Documents obtained by the House Select Subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government detailing that following the January 6, 2021 FinCEN distributed materials to financial institutions. Among other things, they outline the topologies of various persons of interest, and they provide financial institutions with suggested search terms and merchant category codes for identifying transactions on behalf of law enforcement. This is beyond stupid here, and it's beyond a breach of our personal privacy. Can you imagine when we go to CBDCs and digital currencies, like 100% CBDC digital currencies, like they're going to be all up in your stuff. These materials included a document recommending the use of generic terms like Trump and MAGA to search Zelle payment messages. I can't make this stuff up, folks. So FinCEN gave banks extremism indicators, including purchases such as bus tickets, rental cars, or plane tickets for travel to areas with no apparent purpose or the purchase of books, including religious texts and subscriptions to other media containing extremist views. And so, in other words, FinCEN urged, unbelievable, they urged large financial institutions to comb through their private transactions of their own customers for suspicious charges on the basis of protected political and religious expression. I gotta ask you guys, if you found out that your bank or credit card company helped to identify you as a extremist or as a Trump supporter, what would you do? Would you keep your bank account with them? Would you close the bank account? Or would you just accept it as, hey, you know, it is what it is and go about your business? I'm just curious about you guys. So yeah, this paints a whole picture of persecution of not just Donald Trump, but they're now trying to persecute Donald Trump supporters as well. I'm telling you guys, this video will probably get suppressed. So I'm gonna have to ask you guys, if you appreciate the content, do share this video on Facebook and Twitter. Hit the like button. Gotta let people know what's really going on out here, because you know the truth tends to not get out, tends to be suppressed. So anyway, I just want to thank y'all for sticking with me. I know we covered a lot today. Let me jump up in the comments, see what y'all talking about in here. Leslie Fields says, "Get a drink, Ron." Man, you ain't lying. Thank you, Leslie. So Nicole Wilson says, "Definitely quit them." John Gardner says he'd close the account. Lady Trucker 62 would close the account. Guadalupe Rubino, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the praise, for the love in the comments, my man. Let's see. The bird is the word. Jody Samurai. Oh man, just wildness. Oh man. Catalia says, "Facts, Ron. Appreciate the support." Oh man. Yes. And I know everyone watching this video is not a Donald Trump supporter. If you are, just, say Trump 2024. If you're a Biden supporter, type in Biden 2024. But you got to look at what's happening here, guys. Trump is literally under fire to an extent that we've never, ever seen this before. And I think it's very, very clear and obvious why they're doing it. So, this is, these people are charging him with election interference in Georgia, but yet you got all of the Biden minions coming after Donald Trump, attacking him and interfering with an ongoing election to an extent where he can't even campaign because they got him hemmed up in court all day. So anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. If you haven't seen my previous video, my previous live, definitely check out my previous live. I don't want you guys missing out on any content. In that one, we talk about Fani Willis possibly getting replaced on that one. So if you haven't seen my previous live, definitely check out that one right after this one. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a great night.